Welcome, everyone. We gather again for our dialogue sessions and look into the Christian faith and how it inspires our daily lives. My name is Eckhart, and I'm joined by Marissa and Jan, who are both educators and work at schools within the parish. Today, we're looking at keeping the faith during COVID-19. In order to flatten the curve and fight the virus, many countries have been in lockdown, forcing people into isolation. So where does this leave Christians who gather regularly to listen to God's word? And how do schools as beacons of the church fulfill their ecclesiastical nature? Marissa, if I could start with you, how has COVID-19 impacted you, and what have been some of the positives and challenges as both mother and teacher?
It's been a very interesting 4 weeks. Our family's been in isolation since I think around the 18th of March because my husband returned back from overseas. So the first 2 weeks when he was home, we made a choice as a family to also take the kids out of school to keep everyone safe. We weren't sure whether he'd contracted COVID. So we've been doing this for about a month now. And I think our family has found a rhythm for us. But I have 3 school-aged children. I have one in year 8, one daughter in year 4 and one in year 2. So we've had to learn how to juggle me planning for schoolwork as well as educating the children at home, and as well as how, trying to get people fed, the kids fed and everything. So it's been a really big challenge for us. The positives are just, we were sitting around the dining table this morning starting our work, and 4 out of the 5 of us in the family were working together, and we all just looked at each other and said, this isn't too bad. We're doing really well here. That extended family time that we've had, I don't think we've ever had anything like this before, and we're just really trying to find those positives by just really living in the moment and enjoying each other. There are some times where we might want to throw something at each other, but we don't. So there's been lots of challenges, but we're really trying to find the joy in the small things. And definitely spending that time together is one huge positive that we found out of this.
And Jan, would you agree with finding the positive in all the small things? Do you think that's one of the key things we might need to look at during our COVID times?
I definitely think that it's given us an opportunity to do that. I'm in a different situation at home, so it's probably easier for me in lots of ways, but definitely little things. We made an effort over the holidays just to make sure that we did special little things each day because there's only the 2 of us at home. And we've been connecting probably more with our family. They live in different places, so physically can't get together, but using technology has been great. And I just hope that when this is over, some of the positive things will remain, like the connections that we've made and looking for the simple joys, as Marissa said, just sitting around the table together, because all of us live in a busy life. And, just sometimes you're just thinking about the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So taking time to actually be with your partner, with your family, just enjoy those really simple things that actually make us happy.
One of the major events that we've had just recently is Easter, and that is all about family, and that is all about spending those small moments and that time. Has it been a bit tough Easter this year, or what's been different, Jan, in terms of the lead up, Holy Week, Easter? Was it hard to keep the faith or to practice your faith during that time?
Yeah, Easter was really tricky for me, really challenging, because I'm on the liturgy team in my parish of St. Bernard's. So we'd done a little bit of preparation towards that before things got shut down. And to me, Easter, the ceremonies at Easter in the church are absolutely beautiful and special. And a lot of that is to do with being together with your community, but it's also reflection time. So we were lucky, our parish, as has Nazareth, have filmed the masses. So it was so lovely to hear the voices of the people that I know from church, whether they were singing or reading, but just have a bit of comfort that it was my community. And listening to our parish priest give his message rather than just a generic mass made me feel that connection. And my take on it, it's different this year. There's just no other way. It is different. So it gave us time to reflect and really think about, I mean, Easter is a reflective time anyway for me.
And when you say it's a reflective time, it seems a little bit easier for adults to be reflective and maybe even sort of adjust this time. What about the kids, Marissa? Like, did Jesus or God even enter their vocabulary over the last couple of weeks during Easter time, or how did that even work?
At home, it absolutely did. Actually, we spent more time than we probably normally would discussing the days as they were leading in. And on Holy Thursday, when we had a meal together, one of the kids said, "So can you explain to me what Jesus was actually doing at the Last Supper?" So we actually got into more conversations maybe than normal, because usually in that lead up to Easter, we're talking about who we're going to get together with on Good Friday to have seafood with, what we're doing on Easter Sunday, where we're going, which mass are we going to, and all these sorts of things. We didn't have those conversations anymore. So it was all about, we actually really did talk about those sorts of things. And even on Good Friday, the girls said to me, I said to them, and when I was little, we weren't even allowed to turn the television on Good Friday. So all these really interesting conversations came out that maybe wouldn't have come out before. It was actually a really, as challenging as it was, the time not being able to spend with our family, the conversations that came out were really quite interesting, and all the five of us got involved. So it was actually quite good.
Wow. So it sounds like that Easter, the COVID has been that positive of bringing the family together and cracking open, what Easter is and what it actually, might mean for the people of the church as well.
Absolutely.
How did that, what about in terms of a school, Jan? Do you think that's one of the challenges, trying to keep that faith going? And is it just about chocolate and eggs over the break, or particularly during COVID times where now everything's online, how challenging is it to bring faith into the curriculum or into their daily lives?
Okay. Look, it's a challenge normally, but my take on that is it's a privilege that parents have chosen us as a Catholic school. The Catholic is in the title, but it should also be in what we say and, more importantly, what we do. So I take that as a real responsibility and a privilege, being the religious education leader, taking over from Pete, who did a fantastic job. I think it's really important that we teach our students. They have to have the knowledge as well, and our teachers, it's hard to do that because our first faith educators are our parents, and sometimes they're a bit anxious about saying or doing the right thing. But as Marissa just said, sometimes it's a simple conversation with children. And there might be still parents who are a bit fearful of doing that simple activity. So yes, it is a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. We're obviously doing remote learning beginning term. And I think Easter can be a challenge anyway, because often it's in the holidays. So you're either leading up to Good Friday, which is the best scenario, and you can have services at school, or it's in the middle of the holidays, or it's at the end, and then you haven't got that preparation time that the teachers need. So sometimes it's a challenge anyway, just because where it is. But I think now that we're back, just as many teachers really start to think about activities that can lead to a greater depth and engagement, because we have to make all of our activities engaging, and give the students things to think about. And to me, the opportunity is when teachers are sending home an activity or doing the prayer, the families might be together. So just for that little bit at the beginning of the day where the teachers are beginning with prayer, the parents are involved and they see that it's just simple, nothing to be fearful, just really, really simple. And the teachers, Marissa did a beautiful little prayer with her students to begin the term. And that just made it so normal for the kids. But parents don't get to witness that often because they're busy. So it's been an opportunity more than a challenge.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. That our children, when we're setting the religion tasks, are doing them alongside family members. Our 1-2s had a lesson yesterday where they had to create their own prayer space. So because it wasn't my work day yesterday, my daughter got to make it for in her bedroom, and I asked her tomorrow morning when I do my prayer for my class, can I use her prayer space? And she was like, of course you can. She was so proud. So it's sort of like a little bit of a intermingling of teaching and parenting at the same time. So it was really quite good.
Definitely.
Do you think that maybe sometimes religion gets looked at being too overcomplicated, and maybe COVID has helped us to sort of break it down and make it, it's actually, in effect, it's quite simple. And when it's in its simplicity, it can be quite pure, and it can be quite prayerful in itself.
Absolutely.
Do you think that might be the case, Marissa?
I absolutely believe that, because I think part of this, the way that we're teaching, we've found that we have to bring everything back to basics and simplify things. And in doing that, people like Jan mentioned before are seeing that it's not this threatening, huge task, but something very quite small where the children have the time to reflect, and now they're having that time to reflect with their families as well. And something as simple as a prayer together is all you need to start off the day, or whatever it may be. It's been really quite lovely.
And I think children come with that beautiful spirituality. You talk to our preps, and they are the theologians, really, of the school. And if we really listen to them, and then, we almost take that away from them by just making it, as you said, too complicated. So keeping it really simple and giving children, like Marissa's daughter, time to respond and set up a prayer space. That's pretty simple, but it has real meaning, and having that discussion, it's a really beautiful and simple, but it's a very spiritual and powerful thing.
Do you think that it being Easter just so recently has sort of not sort of helped with the isolation, but it's really sort of kickstarted or gave it a great benchmark of where our faith can go, and something to, how can we bring it back together during this time? If Easter weren't there, do you think it would have been a greater challenge to sort of connect to faith again? Do you think it would have been Marissa, for us to connect to our faith?
I think you might be right there, that it really did give people that time to think, I'm not actually able to go to Mass, or I'm not actually able to spend time with my family, and start to think about things like, when I'm thinking about my faith, what is most important? Is it most important that my kids are going out and getting the Easter eggs? No, it's not. Is it more important that I'm missing out on spending time with my loved ones, or that reflection time? So as awful as it sounds, it may have come at a good time for people to really start thinking about their own faith and where they're at. So, yeah.
And when they're reflecting, because Easter does cause us to reflect, quite some bit. We have Anzac Day coming up quite soon as well, and it's almost a good sort of moving forward from Easter to Anzac Day to reflect and to think about the memories as well, and allow people to take some time to take in Anzac Day rather than just becoming a ceremony.
Absolutely.
Jan, as an educator, how does that work with Anzac Day online? Is there some ways that you can sort of interact that or incorporate that, or are there challenges?
There's been lots of connections made already with COVID. People whinging because they have to stay indoors. And I've heard lots of people saying, well, you weren't sent to war when you were 17. And that that's been right from the beginning. So I think we can't ever lessen the power and the impact that war has had on families and people in our country. And this is like something that's dire, it's causing death. We can't run away from it, but we can also know that we'll get through it. Mm-hmm. And I think the RSL are trying very hard to make sure that it's kept alive, the Anzac spirit, if you like. So I know lots of our families attend the Anzac celebrations down here, and I'm pretty sure that they will continue with what the RSL are asking people to do, which is raise the dawn, which I think is a fantastic idea, light up the dawn, sorry. And, it's just a great way of all of us showing, even in isolation, we can be together. And I'm hoping that our families can send images to us so we can put them online on our Facebook page. But I think the Anzac spirit is there, and this is a time to really take a minute, think about what the Anzacs did and what we're being asked to do, what the medical health workers are being asked to do, being on the front line, and just think that, maybe it's not so bad for us as a community, but we've never lived through something like this, not like our parents who did and our grandparents who did go to war. We haven't had anything anyway similar to this. So, to see other countries where people, are dying in the hundreds every day is pretty confronting. So I think to realise that we will get through it, and that's the same Easter message as well, that we will get through it. There is an Easter Sunday and there is an end in sight.
And Marissa, do you think that this is also another opportunity to continue to talk and discuss, reflect with your kids about their faith as well?
Absolutely, with my own kids and also with the kids that we're teaching as well. We're finding lots of interesting reflections in when they're posting their work in religion and in other subjects as well. So it's a great time. And we will definitely spend the time probably on Friday evening discussing what we will do on Saturday morning. Definitely. And we will be setting tasks for our own children for Friday around Anzac Day as well. And I think that we'll find that we'll probably have more families doing something for Anzac Day than probably we normally would.
Okay.
I think so. That'll be. I think it'll be great, and another time for families to connect.
It definitely seems a different way to connect during these COVID times, but I think the beauty of the faith is that it's still a driving force. There still wants to be some sort of connection made. Look, before we leave and finish off, I wanted to sort of get your thoughts about what do you think life is going to be post-COVID with our faith. Do you think some things will change? I mean, I know a lot of parishes have already put masses and celebrations online. This in itself will be online. Do you think faith will be different post-COVID? Starting with you, maybe, Jan?
Thanks for starting with me. I think faith had lost its way. We can't deny that people they didn't connect as much. And for whatever reason, I think that's sad in lots of ways. So I'm really hoping, because I know when there's a crisis, people often turn to their faith. And for me, faith is an anchor for what I do. So it keeps me grounded, gives me purpose. So I'm hoping that people, and, I think Marissa's made some great points about her family, the new generation have to be able to take up this faith. So I'm really hopeful that it will have given people reflection time and time to maybe think, what the faith is important in our lives. I'm hoping that continues. We have great kids who will do fantastic things. Pastoral care, social justice is all done really, really well. But we just now have to make sure that we keep naming that we do that because of our faith.
Yeah, I agree. Marissa, did you want to add anything to that at all?
No, I do. I agree with Jan there that maybe families had, not everyone, but that we had lost our way a little bit in really showing our faith, and this might be a perfect opportunity for us as families and as individuals and as the way that we teach in schools as well to take a step back and really start focusing on what's most important. Mm-hmm. And our faith and our families are probably right up there, and may have been a priority in the past, but I think that we've just had to be able to have that reflection time. So a return to, and even things like now that we've put masses online, could they stay online when we do return back to Mass for those families that can't make it? Mm-hmm. Because then they can still celebrate Mass. If there's something, they've got to go and do their footy match or whatever, we can still celebrate Mass together. So I think there are some great positives in what's happening at the moment, definitely.
Maybe COVID is the time that we're just bringing it back to everything into reflection. So maybe, like you said before, Marissa, you said it's all about simplicity, keeping it simple, and that brings out everything else, the beauty of the faith as well. So maybe COVID, is a time where we can sort of move forward from that. And look, I appreciate you both coming in today and having a chat, and particularly during COVID, because no one has all the answers, and it's great to sort of unpack a few sort of questions and points during this time, particularly around faith and what does that look like, and how do we all come together, and what does it look like? And it's great to have your voices today. So I appreciate you having a chat with us today.
Thanks, Eckhart. Thanks, Jan.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.